Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video, we are taking a look at the Archives chapter in Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now this Archives chapter unlocks after you actually beat Bendy Chapter 5, but to unlock it you can't go to Chapter Select, you actually have to start a completely new game, play through Chapter 1 all the way up to Chapter 5 and complete it, then go to the save screen and select that same save file, and then in your Chapter Select menu you will find this mysterious chapter called the Archives, which is like called Chapter ? And you can actually select this now guys and go into it and have a look at all the concepts from the game throughout its development process. This is quite exciting, so let's dive in now guys and have a look at everything from the Bendy and the Ink Machine Archives chapter. Okay, so it says, welcome to the Archives. Bendy and the Ink Machine began when the developer cartoonist known as the Meatly experimented with bringing a sketched 2D style into a 3D world. After turning the idea into a horror game, Chapter 1 of the game was created in a little under a week, with programmer and friend Mike Mood, and released on February 10th in 2017. Much to their surprise, it struck a chord with global indie gamers almost overnight. The Meatly and Mike Mood decided to drop all other projects to work on Bendy and tell a most unique Ink story. The entire game was completed a chapter at a time in a year and a half by a small but dedicated group of indie developers, although the concept and story remained as originally intended. The game changed over development as characters and models were refined from their early thrown together versions. This archive is a peek behind the scenes at that process. There you go guys. Okay, so let's explore the archives now then. Wow, look at all these different pieces of art, man. All the concept art on the walls from different characters and scenes throughout the game. There's the Alice Angel, she's quite the girl over there. And then Bendy and the Ink Machine on the ceiling. It kind of seems like a VR experience almost, the way that looks. It would be cool to see this in VR. First thing we've got is Henry Stein, guys, and you can see there's nothing there for Henry because obviously we never actually saw what Henry looked like throughout the game, so it's just an empty stand. It says Henry Stein, once an equal business partner of Joey Drew, Henry Stein was a talented animator and character designer until leaving the company around 1930. His place in Joey Drew's studio's history is somewhat undocumented, but he is often rumoured to be the true creator behind many of the studio's most memorable characters. So there we go. Not anything really new about Henry there. What is this? That is so weird. Is this the original Bendy design? Look at the mouth on that thing. It kind of looks cute but horrifying at the same time. This concept Bendy. This is the first version of Bendy ever modelled. In the earliest concepts, Bendy was much smaller and cuter, with a face that split open to reveal a terrifying mouth. Man, can you imagine how freaky that would be, having that thing chasing you around trying to snap at you? I'm kind of glad they didn't go with that because that would scare me. I think that scares me more than the design we ended up with, which you can kind of see on the picture up there. There's the Bendy we all know and love, of course. We remember this from the very first iteration of Chapter 1, and above it, the really creepy version, which looks surprisingly like my artwork for Bendy. I actually might show you that later in the video, guys, my version compared to that. Alpha Bendy. This is the original game used design of Ink Bendy from the earliest version of Chapter 1. It is jokingly referred to as bird poop with a smile among the development team. Oh, there you go, guys. Bird poop with a smile. It does kind of look like it, doesn't it, I suppose? Here's the classic Bendy we all know and love, the one we've had most experience with between chapters, but wasn't used in the final version. Beta Bendy. This was Ink Bendy's form until the release of Chapter 4. At that time, the game received a major visual upgrade, and the title character got a new model as well. A lot of people prefer this older model, guys, but I kind of like the new one better, but it was kind of sad to see it go in a way. Of course, this was accidentally included in the Chapter 5 reveal trailer, but since taken out. There's artwork from the giant creature living under the ink. I'm not sure if that's meant to be Bendy. I think it might have been a version of Bendy living under the ink. And here's the classic, well, not the classic, the new version of Bendy that we've seen used in the final version of the game. Very creepy. Ink Bendy. Ink Bendy as we know him today. Although similar to Beta Bendy, this upgraded version was remodeled and enhanced with a higher polygon count and given new ink effects. Okay, now this is the Beast Bendy, and this looks surprisingly like, as I was saying, my version of Bendy that I actually put up on Twitter and immediately retweeted. I don't know if they were inspired by that design in some way. I'd like to think so, but otherwise it's just a surprising coincidence. So this is Beast Bendy. Ink Bendy's horrific final form in Chapter 5 pulled away the cartoon facade and revealed the demon within. There we go. So that is Beast Bendy. Very creepy looking, very strange. Kind of looks like Alien from the movie Aliens, doesn't it, a little bit, I think. But definitely not friendly looking, that's for sure. Here we've got concept art now here, guys, for one of the Pipers. And then a beta searcher. Early in development, with just a few weeks to create Chapter 2, the beta searchers were designed in record time before being fully retooled later on. They were the first fighting enemies encountered in the game. And there you go, you can see it there, guys. It's just kind of like a blob now, but that's the original searcher we all had to fight. And then this is the much better looking sort of remodeled version, which animates obviously a lot more sort of cartoonishly as well. And it's far more, I suppose, creepy and ghoulish. Final Searcher. The Final Searchers were far more robust in appearance. They were smoother, with better ink effects and a more human appearance. Yeah, you can definitely see that there. There's a striker artwork there. And here's the original Sammy. And you can see his legs are just literally stumps, guys. He doesn't have any kind of detail in his body. Far less detailed from the final version. Beta Sammy. With his first appearance in Chapter 2, fan favourite Sammy Lawrence became a terrifyingly entertaining character. When his slim build was deemed not threatening enough, he was redesigned and given a better skeletal rig for more advanced animation. And there you go, you guys, you can see them side by side there. The original on the left and the retooled version on the right. You can see he actually has legs now and he has feet. His body's more muscular looking. He's kind of hench, but definitely looks far better, far more human. Final Sammy. Sammy Lawrence's final form came complete with a bulked up structure and more powerful limbs. The mad songwriter may finally get noticed now, at least by fans. So he got what he wanted. There's a lost one. It doesn't actually say, by the look of it, if this is called a lost one. That's just what fans have been calling it, myself included, but he's alive, and he's actually in a little cage. Kind of sad, trapped in the archives forever. Here's Alice Angel herself, and there's some really cool concept art for Alice Angel and Allison Angel. Side by side, so this is Susie, I'm guessing. It's kind of cool to see her so up close. We've never had a really good look at her this close up. You can see quite pretty on this side, quite attractive, but then, quite ugly there. Sorry, Susie. And there you have Alison. I assume this is Alison Pendle's version of Alice, although she doesn't remember that in Chapter 5. Looking very menacing. Here is Tom Boris, so we assume is Thomas Connor. And again, these don't have descriptions. I'm guessing they're leaving this up to fan theories, leaving it ambiguous as to who exactly these characters were, which is why they don't have descriptions. That's some cool artwork up there. That kind of looks like the old studio just like, I don't know, flooded with ink and collapsing. I assume that's what that's meant to be. Here's the original Boris though, guys. Do you remember this? Look how detailed his insides were. It's kind of gross. But this was how Boris looked in the very first version of the game on Game Jolt. It says, Beta Boris. Papa was the original name of the character that eventually became Boris the Wolf. This early version was released with Chapter 1. He was quickly refined into the Boris we all know today, with the release of Chapter 2. So there you go, guys. That is the original Boris, and this is the one we all know and love today. Kind of sad what happens to him. Boris the Wolf, A Friend to the End, was designed using various references from cartoons of the 1920s, a blend of West Coast and East Coast animation styles. The silent and supportive wolf won over the hearts of many, although at times he was a headache for the development team due to his AI taking on a mind of its own during production. So it's a bit annoying to code by the sound of it. And here's the brute Boris. There's some concept art from above. It's kind of sad. This is how Boris ended up after Alice had retooled him. And, yeah, didn't make it out alive, unfortunately. Brute Boris. Alice Angel's monstrosity, Brute Boris, was one of the biggest surprises of Chapter 4. His design was roughly based on the Frankenstein monster, but with a more unfinished appearance. Alice took parts from within him and substituted things that his body is rapidly rejecting. Yeah, we'd made a theory video on this, guys, so go and check that out if you're interested. I'll link it at the end of this video about how his body was built and some other things to do with the making of Brute Boris, so yeah, check that out. Here's the original ink machine, of course. Before a major visual upgrade, this version of the ink machine was the one used in the game. Much of the machine's iconic fan-loved design was translated into the final version. And I remember this. I remember taking many screenshots and videos of this thing when I was doing theories in the early days. Kind of like the redesign better, but I do miss this one in a way. It was kind of cool. This whole place has a real museum feel to it, doesn't it? Oh, and look at this. This is Bertram's head, guys. Yeah, very ugly. I don't know why those warts are on the side of his head. It's kind of gross. But yeah, that was the severed head of Bertram Piedmont. Massive. Huge to go along with his ego, I guess. And here are the Butcher Gang finally, guys. All three of them. It says the Butcher Gang, the Piper, Striker and Fisher made up the dreaded Butcher Gang. Interestingly, the ink-corrupted versions of these characters were designed first and then were reverse-engineered back into their more family-friendly cartoon forms. Okay, so like it seems that they designed the original designs, these corrupted designs first, and then kind of made the cartoons from them. I guess it was easier that way to sort of develop these kind of really creepy designs because they are like pretty horrifying for cartoon designs. That's an interesting fact I didn't know. That's kind of cool to know. And then you can see the Joey Drew Studio logo up there. There's just like loads of artwork all over the walls, so just soak it in while I pan around best I can. My mouse is playing up a little bit at the moment. But yeah, guys, this is the Bendy and the Ink Machine archive, which is this hidden chapter you get once you've completed Chapter 5 from the beginning. I hope you have enjoyed this video, guys. Of course, if you have, remember to give it a like. Leave me a little comment down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a whole week of Bendy content on the channel this week. So, yeah, look forward to more videos coming very soon. And with that, I am out of here, as Wally Franks would say.